We have Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, and many other streaming services out there, but a new challenger has entered the building in Disney Plus, a service offering hundreds of movies and series from our childhood. We also have the Marvel Cinematic Universe, National Geographic, Pixar, and the list goes on. At $6.99 a month, it's bound to give other services a run for their money. So what should you watch? Because there's so much out there between the Disney Channel original movies, the series that maybe you've never seen, because there's just so much out there. I did not know how many Spider-Man series existed. Holy crap, there are many of them. We're going to talk about all of this right now on another exciting episode of A Cast of the Past, with a brand new episode each and every Sunday with yours truly, Juan Velez from Puerto Rico, joining me. At a pretty chilly weather from Boston, Massachusetts, we have Ryan McNulty. Now, Ryan, are you ready for yet another streaming service in your life, my friend?
You know I am, because I am the ultimate streaming service moocher, right? I guess technically Amazon Prime is the only one I personally subscribe to, but through my roommates and my girlfriend, I am able to access all these other streams, so hey, bring it on, because I'm probably not paying for it.
All good, man. And now from London, Ontario, we have Keith Hamilton. Keith, in your case, is Disney Plus officially available in Canada?
It is. At first, it wasn't going to be, but somewhere between the initial announcement and launch, they made it simultaneous with the US. And that's why it took me 20 minutes on November 12th to become a Disney Plus member. I got up at 7 a.m., did my morning bathroom business, and then boom, Disney Plus subscriber.
See, it almost happened with me because Puerto Rico is part of the U.S., but this is one of them situations where they go like, oh, you're kind of there, but not. So up until the night before, they had officially said simultaneous launch, and then at the day of launch, hey, November 19th. November, that sounds pretty good, but for whatever reason, yeah. But if you have T-Mobile, AT&T, the PS4, or the Xbox One app, it works. So I was still able to use it, despite the fact that when you log in, it tells you you cannot use it. Yet I clearly can. But everybody,
breaking the law.
Yes, indeed. But if you have fun with whatever we're doing, consider leaving a 5-star review on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts. Leave a comment on the YouTube video with things that we should possibly watch, or on social media, A Cast of the Past. But once again, the whole purpose is that there's too much damn stuff in here. And if you're new to this, if you haven't watched a lot of MCU, Disney movies, all the Pixar stuff is here, it can be very overwhelming. Ryan, in your case, what about the service did you look at and go, oh, this is something that people definitely have to check out?
Well, I, for one, looking through this library, I'm just like, holy crap, I did not realize how many things were Disney, or how many things Disney owns.
Everything.
They own everything.
Yeah.
The mouse controls it all.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily a fan of how much they control, but you can't deny the value that you get here. Personally, I think the Pixar stuff stands out to me as there's a few that I have missed that I would definitely go to first. As well as I love the fact that they even have the little shorts that they would normally air like before they would show the movie. So you can even watch those, I think, on an individual basis. So that's kind of my first instincts, along with some of the movies I remember coming out as a kid that I think were pretty bad, but I would totally rewatch. Like there's Jungle to Jungle on here, and Kazam. Like Kazam. I don't think I ever really saw that movie, but I remember the trailers for it. So these are these like dumb, like 90s kids movies that I feel like I have to go back to just see how hilarious they are.
I had to look up who owns Good Burger at this point, and I'm still trying to figure that out. Oh, it's Nickelodeon, damn.
Yeah, you can't really get that.
Come on, it was a skit and all that. That's how it started.
Oh, was it? I'd never seen all that.
It's all about the 90s. Like I think that obviously when you look at the library, there's stuff from like the 1930s, 1940s. Like it's Disney. We forget just how old many of these cartoon shows are. Like for me, some of the stuff that immediately popped into my head is like DuckTales, which is from the 80s, but Gargoyles. Like Gargoyles, I think was an animated series that, did you guys ever watch Gargoyles?
Oh, yeah.
Not a ton, but I remember it being
There was like a sweet hour on Fox Cartoons that was Gargoyles and Mummies Alive, and that was like prime afternoon cartoon viewing after getting home from school. Man, Mummies Alive, that's something I haven't thought about in years. Let's kick Tut, guys. Let's kick Tut.
I think the entire purpose of this service as opposed to Netflix is, oh my God, I forgot that was a thing.
Yep.
Like, as my wife and I were scrolling through everything last night, it's just like, yep, holy crap, wow, haven't seen this in 10 years, haven't seen this in 15 years. What about the service in particular for you, Keith? You're a big Marvel fan, you're a big Star Wars fan, so this is your thing here.
Oh yeah, this is right up my alley. There's a reason why it was like a minute 1 buy for me, or minute 20, I guess. But the fact that I have all of my Star Wars in one place, and it's a service that is continuing to make new Star Wars, that isn't just like this big cinematic experience. Like, what my favorite thing in the Star Wars universe is the Clone Wars cartoon. That is the best Star Wars out there as far as I'm concerned. Those episodes that really hit are just the best Star Wars, and they're making more of it because of Disney Plus. So that is more than enough reason for me to describe. But when talking about all of the like additional stuff on there, the fact that this is a home for every season of The Simpsons makes it worth the $8 a month to me, because my God, just to have that in one place. I could be wrong, but I think this is the first time that that's ever been available. Just all of The Simpsons on there, from the like the good stuff to the later years of Simpsons, just to have that all in one place. That is worth the subscription alone, just to be able to go through that.
How long would it take to binge watch all of The Simpsons? They are half-hour episodes, so it may not be that
Keith,
bad.
can you please look that up? Because I guarantee you somebody's done that math. So if somebody could do that research.
Because like trying to do the quick math, they're probably 22-minute episodes, so 3 episodes an hour.
Been, what, like 30 seasons at
30,
this point?
Yeah, there's 30 seasons on there. Let's say 10-episode seasons. Yeah, you're looking at about a week.
Okay, I just found it. Holy crap.
Okay.
202 hours and 24 minutes if you were to watch all 552 episodes. Just only, 552. That was actually the first thing that I watched.
So that's what, 10 or a little under 10
almost
days?
3.5 days. Almost 3.5 days.
Which is actually not all that bad.
It's not that bad. Half-hour episodes really is a game changer.
3.5 days? Hold on, I need to work through this math.
Keith, I'm not challenging you.
There's 24 hours in a day. And so that would mean 10 days would be 200.
Wrong.
Yeah, I think you mathed that up real bad. So 10 days would be 240 hours. So you're looking at about 7 days, roughly.
People, we're here to recommend things for you to watch. We're not here to do the actual math of how long these things take to watch, okay?
I was very wrong on that. I divided by 60 like a moron.
Yeah, but one of the biggest things about this is they're going all in, not just with the retro stuff, but they really are pouring into the series, bringing stuff back. So like Lizzie McGuire, that's going to be making a comeback. My wife loved to watch that growing up. And then something I watched last night, we are playing through Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic on the original Xbox, and The Mandalorian was it feels like it was like the main thing they really wanted to do, which feels weird because I have watched it, neither of you have. So giving a spoiler-free review, even though I think that the first episode is very spoiler-free in terms of like, it's just like setting the tone. First of all, holy crap, I don't know how much money they poured into the series, but you can feel the money. Just like every scene, every camera angle. Yeah, this is it. I was telling my wife, who watched a ton of Game of Thrones, this feels like the next Game of Thrones in terms of epic scale. None of this seemed like a half-assed television show. Like, I've watched clips of like CW shows like Supergirl and all that, and they look like a television show.
Bad.
This looks like a movie. This looks like you could put it up on the big screen. And what I love is that it feels like a Star Wars show, but it doesn't have the traditional Star Wars music. It's got a couple of things in there. It starts very dry, but right off the bat, you get some action letting you know, like, hey, this is kind of the thing that's going to be happening. And throughout the episode, it's Star Wars, right? So they do have that little bit of comedy, but I like the fact that it's not like this ha-ha, laugh out loud comedy. It's like, hey, these characters are human beings, and every episode's about 45 to 50 minutes. And something I wanted to get your feedback about this and in other shows in general. So they're not going down the Netflix binge route where instead of putting out one episode, they put out the entire season. They are going to be sporadically releasing the episodes. Do you like that format, or would you prefer that they put out all the episodes in one go?
I like it right now, just because of running into this issue with Disney Plus, where you're kind of left, you're paralyzed by choice, where you're thinking like, oh, what am I going to watch? There's just so much to consume. The fact that they're kind of limiting it, I really appreciate, because I didn't realize there was just one episode of The Mandalorian, and I was thinking to myself, like, well, I'm going to save it for the weekend and check it out then, where I can have some time and binge watch it. Now that I know that there's only one episode, then I'm going to watch it tonight. I have no reason to not spend that time now, because I have it, where it's almost more beneficial to save it a bit, because you have the ability to binge watch it. So I appreciate it. It lets me get caught up, because The Mandalorian isn't the only show that I'm interested in at launch. Instead of watching it last night, I watched that Imagineering documentary, because both my girlfriend and I are we love to know how Disney works. We love to know how the magic at Disneyland and Disney World happens. And she's a former cast member. So being able to watch that documentary and just kind of see all the bells and whistles and like the great stories about how much of a nightmare Disneyland was on the day it opens, it's a really fascinating watch. It might not be on everybody's radar, but I highly recommend checking out the Imagineering documentary. And my favorite part about it is Disney has always done this thing where they sugarcoat Walt Disney. They don't really do it in this documentary.
Huh. Oh, wow.
Like it's not saying like, yeah, Walt Disney was a dick, but they don't censor any comments people that worked for him has. Like, they don't outright say it, but by the end of it, you're kind of left thinking like, oh, he seems like a bit of a nightmare to work for. Like, they don't sugarcoat it in that way, and I find that so fascinating, hearing all these stories from these people that worked with Walt and them talking about how Disneyland was so rushed that on day one, the concrete wasn't even dry, so people's shoes were sinking into the concrete and leaving holes because they couldn't delay it any further, and just a bunch of great stuff like that. I loved that show, and it's another thing that they're releasing episodes periodically. It's on a weekly schedule, much like The Mandalorian, so it's very bite-sized, and you're able to consume it easily, and I love that approach. Maybe 6 months down the line, I'm gonna like it a little less, because once I get through that initial rush of content, I'm going to be at a point where, okay, I just want to keep watching this one thing that they're offering me. But if they just keep the content flowing, I think they can make this work.
You brought it right back around. I like it.
Thank you.
So I think that it's a good idea for several reasons. On the business side, of course, it's good for them, because you got to stay subscribed longer than a month if you want to get, the full show, I'm assuming. So cha-ching, cha-ching, more money for Disney.
Yeah, they got to stretch that out.
But at the same time, I do like sort of the HBO approach, where you get the weekly episode, because it gives you time to digest an episode, especially if it's an hour long, where you can have the water cooler discussions, the week to week, the fan theories and stuff. I really enjoy that, and that was a really fun experience with Game of Thrones that you didn't get from other shows. Like, you get Stranger Things, and everyone just binge watches the whole season, and then you just talk about the season holistically, so you're never like thinking, unless there's a really standout episode that's terrible, like you never really think of it in terms of an episode.
Like, as somebody that binge watched Stranger Things, I can tell you the high points of that season, in my opinion. I cannot tell you what episode it was in.
Yeah,
the challenge.
Exactly.
Yeah, the challenge is that, say, Ryan watched the entire season and he wants to talk about it, but Keith has watched 3 episodes.
You have to wait.
Like, oh, can we talk
about
it
it's like,
next week?
I'm on episode 6. Please don't say anything. Yeah, it's very annoying. It's nice to have that week-to-week pace. The thing is, though, it only matters if the show is kind of big, right? Because if you're just watching week to week and nobody's really talking about it, so we'll see. Obviously, there's a lot of hype around the show now, but is it going to keep people watching? Is it going to, blow up into this new phenomenon of a show? We'll see. I mean, I'm willing to check out the first couple episodes, but I'll be honest, Disney does not, I'm a little weary of Star Wars and Disney right now. I haven't been as much on the
and
hype
rightfully
train.
so.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
I will say, even though I haven't seen The Mandalorian, everything outside of the Skywalker saga has been a hit. Like, if there is one movie that I can
Solo?
point to, well, yeah, I guess, but it's kind of connected with Han Solo. But if I can point to the best Star Wars experience, as far as even saying that it is my number 2 movie in all of the Star Wars period, Rogue One, the Disney movie Star Wars Rogue One, is peak Star Wars. It is so good. It is the best.
I don't know what people see in that movie. But
What?
It is
That's
so
I guess
freaking good.
it's a conversation for another
People,
day.
we need some
I was
feedback
not-
on this.
Yeah.
I was just not particularly impressed with that
Send
movie.
us a tweet at A Cast of the Past. I almost said Six Pack Cast there. A Cast of the Past, and tell us how wrong Ryan is about Rogue One.
And by the way,
Or how
about
about
the
you just give me your honest take on Rogue One?
yeah, just give them that take. But regarding the Star Wars movies, they're actually in 4K HDR. Same thing with The Mandalorian, and it looks beautiful, people. So if you have a really good internet connection, I guarantee you're gonna love the entire experience. Something else that I haven't watched, but I know a lot of people are looking forward to watching, is The World According to Jeff Goldblum. You put Jeff Goldblum on my screen, and I love the entire concept of the series is, hey, I don't know about this, but I'm Jeff Goldblum, so I have a series, and I'm going to get to know about it. And I'm like, okay, cool, man. Like,
I'll be
I
honest,
don't need anything else.
That's the real hit on Disney Plus. Is let's just make a show where Jeff Goldblum can be Jeff Goldblum. Sign me up for that. That's what I'm in on. Screw the Mandalorian. I want some Jeff Goldblum.
You want the Goldblum.
Oh yeah. But bringing up quickly a couple of listener suggestions here. We reached out on Twitter. Malin181 wrote, my 2 favorite films offered by the service are Walking Sleeping Beauty. It's a behind-the-scenes look at the Disney Renaissance. So maybe somewhat of a follow-up, Keith, or like a throwback, because I'm assuming this came out before, so it's a good maybe comparison, the documentary-style stuff you're talking about in this.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is
And I believe it's
Court
Waking
Miracle.
Sleeping Beauty.
Okay, waking. I said walking? Waking. Yeah, no walking. They're gonna wake her up. And then Full Court Miracle. It's about a losing high school basketball team that asks a professional who's between jobs to coach them during Hanukkah. There's a lot of these movies like Coach Carter, all these coaching type movies. I love these. I don't know why, but
Oh yeah, there's an entire section on the Disney Plus app of just like Disney sports movies.
yes, it's amazing.
They're so good. Like that one with The Rock that I totally forgot about.
The game plan.
Yeah, the game plan.
Yeah. USC Punk 88 on Twitter wrote, The Mandalorian is incredible. And Liam V wrote, unfortunately, the UK does not get it until March 2020. Ouch. That's
No,
a ways
rough.
out. And he hopes to go without spoilers for The Mandalorian until then. I
Liam
think you
V.
should delete your Twitter account.
Yeah,
I'm just
Liam
gonna
V.
say.
I don't want to suggest anything illegal, but there are 3 letters in the alphabet that are NVP and in a different order that might be good for Disney Plus till then.
Yeah, that's
So-
definitely a thing.
I have a question. Is there anything that you think is like omitted from this library? Anything that's missing that you feel like should be there? I noticed, and this is probably for the benefit of everyone, that they only have the first 3 Home Alone movies and none of whatever
there's
the
a
hell they
reason
did
for that.
after that. But are there any big omissions that you've seen?
The Spider-Man movies aren't there, right? Not the Tobey Maguire ones, but the Tom Holland ones aren't there.
It's because it's Sony, right?
Mm-hmm, but
Yeah.
I would call that a big omission.
Yeah, that would be a big omission. Apparently, the Michael Jackson episode of The Simpsons is actually out there. So because of everything that's been happening this year, another complaint. Oh, this is a big complaint, and I saw this. So the first thing I did when I got the service is I started watching some old school Simpsons, and I'm like, wait a minute. The original Simpsons was not widescreen, so they went down the Dragon Ball Z DVD route of just zooming in, which does not work for it because you actually see missing information. Like you can tell something's cut off, and people have made points like, look, Simpsons made use of every little part of the screen. So it's like there are jokes, visual jokes that you cannot see.
I've heard about that as well.
That's
they went the DBZ orange brick route of just zooming the hell in, like, hey, this is widescreen, right, guys?
Oh, what a bad idea. And I guess one omission that I can think of, and maybe this is just exclusive to the Apple TV because that's what I'm watching it on, but there's no resume feature like with Netflix. Like if you are watching a movie or watching an episode of something and have to stop partway through, there's no just like resume from current position button. Something that
hopefully,
I find very
that's
handy.
something that kind of comes down the line, because I know WWE Network might have had that problem too, and have they fixed that since? So
they have.
Yeah,
it
so
happens whenever
it could be
things
just
launch.
they're working things out, and that'll be implemented down the line. Yeah, I just don't get with the whole cropping thing. Like, what's wrong with 4:3, right? If that's
People
what
want
it's
things
in,
to fit their TV.
yeah,
I
it's just
I
like,
don't agree with it, but
they should at least give you the option, right, to do widescreen or 4:3, because
yeah.
if something was built to be in 4:3, I would rather just watch it in 4:3.
Agreed.
Yeah, absolutely. And just considering the fact that Disney has such a rich history, I don't think that they're missing anything. I think I'm curious as to, look, Disney owns a lot more stuff, and I guarantee you this is not all of it, right? Like, you see National Geographic here, and it's like, wait, that's a little weird. It's just like you forget that they own all this stuff. But it's like, going forward, what are they going to be doing? They do have a bundle, so you can get the ad version of Hulu, ESPN Plus, and you can get this for a much better deal than Hulu and all that stuff, like separately. But the other thing, I don't think it's any coincidence that in this episode we've recommended stuff, but it's all series. I feel like Disney is definitely going to go all in on the episodic route because that's what keeps you going in. Like, look at Netflix,
Like they
for
already
example.
have some solid stuff announced.
Yeah.
There's that Cassian Andor Star Wars thing. There's the not Tom Holland. Oh God, I'm blanking on his name. What's Loki's name? Tom Hiddleston?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that Loki series with him in between Thor Ragnarok. Like they have some serious things coming down the pipe. And I
one thing
imagine
I'm
that's
looking
just
forward
going to
to-
stay consistent.
Yeah, like next year, I think it is, or the year after, they're going to have that What If series for Marvel, and I love that. So it's like the title implies, it's like these hypothetical scenarios, and you're going to have people talking about that. We're wrestling fans, and the WWE Network has something similar, right? You put a bunch of wrestlers, you interview them, and you talk about what if scenarios. So I do think that when you put that into the world of superheroes, it is interesting. But personally, I really hope they do keep going on with a series because I think series are a lot more fun to talk about with friends, whereas a movie is a one-shot deal. And let's be real, a lot of the movies that I've seen, at least for Netflix and Hulu, they're okay. But you can tell that they're trying to be as budget-friendly as possible. And I feel like when you do a series, you have a little bit more time to flesh things out. That doesn't mean you put out 40 episodes just to get the full experience. I like the mini series, like 6 to 10 episodes or something like that. But what else are you looking forward to consuming here? Or is there any like old school
I
stuff
just want
you're
to
like,
say
yeah.
that I'm looking at the library here, and I see Muppet Babies. And the year is 2018. So when the hell did Muppet Babies come back? That's what I want to know.
Ryan.
I know there was that Muppet like series on ABC for a while, but I didn't know that Muppet Babies came back. Fascinating.
There are so many series. Like, that was my second reaction here. It's like, this existed? There are so many things like Avengers
God.
animated series stuff I didn't know about.
I see Muppet Babies 2018, and I don't like what I see. I'll tell you that much.
So there's a reason that maybe we don't really
It
know
looks
about
like
that.
CGI mess is all I'm going to say.
Yeah, so Keith, I'm going to challenge you. Say somebody, the MCU is available here, right? Would you suggest that people start like from the very beginning, talking about the Iron Man movies, etc.? We've talked about the first Captain America movie. We've reacted to the later Avengers ones. Like, what is something that people have to go back here now that we do have a chance to witness the entire MCU in its completion?
Well, it is great that all of it's in one place, and because of that, you have the option. In my opinion, there's two approaches. You either take it in order of release and digest it there, but there's also the opportunity to do it chronologically, and you can find that online where you start at like Captain America, the first Avenger, and then move move through the timeline, and then eventually end up at Endgame. So that's kind of a fun experiment that you can do with the MCU that way, now that it's all in one place with the exception of Spider-Man, and that almost seems like a more fun way to approach that. But again, if you want reasons to subscribe to it, to have the almost 30 blockbuster movies at your fingertips at any time, that's incredible, especially with some of the high caliber ones like Infinity War and Winter Soldier and I guess eventually probably the Spider-Man movies. To have those at your fingertips at all times is just wonderful and more than worth the money. I was talking with a friend today because you can go out and buy any single one of those movies on Blu-ray for $20-$30 here in Canada. That's 3 months of Disney plus change. Like, why would you have one movie when you could have all the movies at your fingertips for multiple months at the same price?
Yeah, like I'm looking right here. Just the second phase of the MCU is like $58 on Amazon. The phase 3 is $45. So we're talking about hundreds upon hundreds of dollars. Obviously, you're not owning here stuff, but I'm just really happy that this is available. And something that it really helps us as a podcast, and this is where we open it up to everybody listening and watching, is that, hey, now there's a whole array of movies, of television shows that we can watch and react to. You know, we've talked about The Mandalorian. Obviously, that's a more recent thing. But if there's anything about this service that you think we should review at some point, please hit us up on social media, A Cast of the Past, on Twitter, Facebook. Send us an email, acastofthepast@gmail.com. Is there something in your case, Ryan, that you can look at the service right now and go like, you know what, for better or worse, we can review Parent Trap. We can review Suzy Q if you wanted. Is there something that's like, oh man, that would be something to review?
I've looked through a lot, and there's just so many movies that look like they're complete trash that I really just want to watch. I'm seeing things like That Darn Cat or Teacher's Pet. I have no idea what any of these movies are, but I'm kind of curious. And like I said, there's also ones that I haven't seen in so long, like Muppet Treasure Island or something that I kind of want to revisit to see. Are they any good, or was I just a dumb kid that enjoyed anything that was put in front of him? So there's a lot to explore, and it's just, compared to Netflix, like, this is such a more powerful library. Like, there's way more things where you're like, oh, I would totally watch that, even just for curiosity's sake. So damn it, Disney, you got too much stuff. You're scaring me.
Yeah, I think that Disney has the best background stuff. Like, my tradition for every morning now is either going to be put a random episode of The Simpsons or put a random episode of X-Men, the 1992 animated series. That theme song. That end there.
Bub.
And I think with that, this has been another exciting episode of A Cast
To the
Past. Oh boy.